Kurdistan. She travelled there with the Bring Hope Humanitarian Foundation in a trip she describes as life-changing. Now Stephanie Waring wants to bring more awareness to the plight of refugees, and I'm pleased to say she joins us now in the studio. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
A world very far removed from the character that you play. Why did you decide to get involved with this charity in the first place?
Well, my friend Thomas Campbell, who's on the board of directors for the charity, I was just having a conversation with him, and he was like, well, I'm going over to Iraq, and I was like, well, what are you doing there? And he told me about his charity, and asked me if I wanted to get involved with it, but I thought for myself that I needed to do some research into it, because you know I was quite ignorant to obviously what's going on there. I live in my own little bubble, you know, doing my own thing, and when I did the research, I was just overwhelmed by how much these refugees needed our help, because Bring Hope Humanitarian Foundation is the only charity that actually provides aid into Iraq. So when I was invited out there, it was a no-brainer. I wanted to see for myself if I was going to advocate a charity and be an ambassador for it, I needed to be there and to actually see what I was raising awareness for. So yeah, that was pretty much it. I just thought, right, I'm going, and I actually want to see with my own eyes what it is that they are going through, what their reality actually is, and it was devastating.
But when you got there, what exactly did you find? What was it worse than you could have ever imagined?
Yeah, I tried not to have any preconceived ideas of what it would be like, because I didn't want to scare myself, because you get a lot of people going, oh, you're going to Iraq, and is it safe? And I just thought they're children living in these camps, so why should I fear for my own safety when there are actually children who actually spending their lives there, they're growing up there, they're born into the camps. So yeah, when I got there, it was quite shocking to see the conditions that they are living in. There are 54 camps in Iraq, and there are 2,000 families living in a camp, and they have nothing, and we are the only charity that provides aid. So it was really eye-opening to see the circumstances they're living in. They're living in shacks. There's a family that just live in one room, which is all their living room, their kitchen, you know, their sleeping area. But they are quite happy souls though. When I met all the children, they're just so happy to see you and so grateful. And when we brought the aid into the camps as well, to see the gratitude which comes from the heart, it's just something that I will never forget.
And as you say, some of these children, they don't know anything else. They have no other reality, do they?
No, and this is their reality, but it shouldn't be anybody's reality. We are all the same. And it just breaks my heart that we have everything at our fingertips here, and they don't. You know, just things like sanitary protection for young girls and women. They need that, and they don't have that unless we supply it to them.
And you got to meet and speak with the family of Nadia Murad. She's the recent winner of the Nobel Peace Prize, and she's known for fighting for the rights of Yazidi women. What did the family have to say to you?
This was a story that shocked me to my core, and it sat with me emotionally on a level that I didn't think that I would feel. Her sister, who I sat and spoke to, told how when ISIS invaded their village, they put everybody into a school, and then they sectioned them off into groups. The men were just murdered in front of their families. The single women were sold as sex slaves, and their grandmothers and the grandmothers who had the grandchildren with them, they were all murdered. She told of a woman who was about to give birth, and she was murdered as well. And her sister was sold 5 times and given away once, until she escaped. She escaped once, then got took back, and then she escaped for a second time, and now she's in the camps in Iraq. And Nadia obviously sought asylum in Germany as well, and now she's been advocating obviously for the...
You can't begin to fathom the suffering, can you?
You can't. And she was so strong though. I couldn't believe how... I think if this happened to anybody that we would know, it would have a completely different effect, but the strength that she's shown when she was telling the story, and she was so affectionate and loving, it just blew my mind, the strength that these women have, that what they've overcome.
You can see that it's clearly affected you emotionally. You can see that, the stories that you've heard, and people that are listening to you this morning and watching this, how can they help?
Well, we are having our first charity event, our first one for Bring Hope, on the 10th of November in Manchester at the Principal Hotel. We still have tables available, so if anyone wants to get involved, but it's about donating, because, like I said, we are the only charity that can provide aid. So anything, any donations, any money that can be given, just so that we can, you know, supply them with what they need. You know, it's just medical supplies. It's everything really. You know, clothes, anything.
Stephanie, thank you so much for coming in to tell us about your work this morning, and hopefully raise a lot of funds in your charity.
Thank you for having me.